Whakatakata hou ki te ulu, whakatakata hou ki te tonga, ki mā kina ki utu, kia mā taratara ki tai. Ihi aki ana te atakura, hei tū, hei huka, hei hohu, ti hei Māori. Good morning everyone and welcome to today's Regulation Hearing Committee for the 30th of July. A quorum is present, everybody is here. And I will just acknowledge that Chair Pauling is online this morning. So we have no apologies. So that takes us to agenda item 3, which is the conflicts of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts of interest that they wish to declare? Councillor East, is that a...
Yeah, we have item 8.1, the South Shore application. Look, I've been acutely involved with that for a number of years. I don't really think there's a huge conflict of interest, but to allay any ongoing fears, I will declare an interest in that matter.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We'll note that. Is there any further conflicts that wish to be raised? There isn't. We will move on to public forum, deputations and petitions. We have received none. That takes us to agenda item 5, extraordinary and urgent business. I'm not aware of any. Is there any that people want to put on the table? There isn't. We've had no notices of motion. That's agenda item 6. Which takes us to agenda item 7, which is the minutes. So these have been circulated. They're page 10 to 17 in your agenda. Are there any matters of accuracy relating to those unconfirmed minutes from the 23rd of July? They were checked over by myself and the Deputy Chair of the committee. If there isn't, we have a recommendation here. Can I have a mover and a seconder for them? Councillor Edge is going to move. A seconder, please. Councillor Robinson, thank you. I don't think there's any need, well, there isn't any discussion on those. So all those in favour say aye.
Right.
Against? That's carried. Thank you. That does take us to report items there for decision. This is 8.1. Yes, we are looking to appoint hearing commissioners for the Christchurch City Council today. Just for those who may not be aware or that are watching this on YouTube, we have at the table our Alison Cooper. Sorry, it's right in front of me too. Consents coordinator. We have Henry Winchester, our General Manager of Consents, and then we have David Sleuth, who's a Project Manager for the Fast Track projects that we get here. And in the back of the room, we also have our counsel, Robin Fitchett, sitting there, and our General Manager of Regulatory Implementation, Paul Holst, and some other staff that we may need to call on if we have to, so thank you for that. I think it's pretty clearly outlaid here in the paper that staff have produced for us. We're looking, here's the recommendations up. I'm not going to read the whole thing out, but we're looking to appoint Gina Sweetman as the chairperson of this panel, and Amy Robinson and Yvette Couch-Lewis as fellow panel members on the panel for this Christchurch City application. Background set out in your paper. This was a publicly notified application because of some of the view that some of the activities were going to be more than minor on the environment. Quite a number of submitters here, as you can see, 300 odd submissions. The majority of them, all but 2, were obviously in support. So a hearing will be required, and the information around the chairperson and panel members is laid on from points 15 through to 21 in the background paper. Now, is there any questions of clarity? I'm aware that somebody does wish to make some discussion, but we'll do that after we've moved the recommendation. Any questions of clarity for staff? Okay, if there isn't, I understand that Councillor Davies wants to move this one. Do I have a seconder for that? Give me to Councillor Robinson, thank you. So we have a mover and a seconder here. I will open it up for a discussion. If we can keep that to the recommendation, that will be helpful. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, today's proceedings mark the continuation of the proceeding of the South Shore and South New Brighton Estuary Edge project applications that represent a moment in our post-earthquake recovery and renewal journey. These consent applications for the Estuary Edge project are significant for both our community and our environment since the earthquakes reshaped our coastal landscape. The level of public engagement, 300 submissions, demonstrates this importance. This isn't merely a technical planning exercise. It's about the future relationship between South Shore, South New Brighton, our community, and the Avon Heathcote Estuary, the Whakatau. The decisions before the Commissioners will affect how we live with our coastal environment and how we protect vulnerable communities. The 20-year consent duration sought reflects the implications of these deliberations. I would say to the Commissioners that these applications carry significant weight, requiring careful consideration of evidence alongside the deeply held community values expressed through this level of public participation. Our attention is focused on these proceedings.
Thank you. Right, I think it's, you would like to make a comment too, Councillor Swiggs?
I just think it's important to add the 2014 flooding of that area, and the work that's going to go down here is important to recognise that flooding. And I'm just going to plug in there that this is a classic case of where the RMA is very difficult to get some things done, and hopefully we can see a better RMA process in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. I know we've got a panel go around. Okay.
I'm just pleased to see that Yvette Lewis is actually on that panel, seeing the mana whenua side of things as well. So I'm pleased to see that.
Okay, I think we've got a very powerful panel of wahine there, actually, to be fair. So look, and they will do their job. We've had some discussion there. We've got a mover and a seconder. I'm not going to read it out. I'll take that as read. Do all in favour say aye, please? Aye. Against? Carried. So we've noted David's conflict. Yep, thank you. Right. That takes us to agenda item 8.2 in our papers. So that's, what page are we on? Page 23 to 28. Now, committee members will recall we had a briefing last week, which was the background to this paper and lists coming to us. Now, I'm going to hand over, we've just had Paul Hulse come to the table as well. I'm going to hand over to staff to actually introduce this paper, please.
Kia ora koutou, everyone. So today is an opportunity for us to bring the second part of this conversation from last week, where we brought a paper regarding fast track and providing a panel to ensure that we can quickly appoint the relevant person or people to those fast track applications as in line with the panel convener. You'll see there we have added a number of names to that list, and we've also added a table at the back there which outlines their expertise. A couple of things I'd just like to point out. The first and foremost is the panel will ask us what type of expertise that they would like. We have tried to get a general view of try to cover our basis, I suppose, of who it is that we want to put forward. You'll also note there that we've had a number of conversations with different people around the region, including some of the TAs, including Ngāi Tahu. They will still go through their processes. This is just for us to cover our bases to ensure that we can actively move quickly to get a person up for the panel. I'll just pass to Paul for the next piece in terms of the delegations.
Kia ora. Just to add a little bit more detail to the recommendation 2, which delegates to the Chief Executive the authority to select a nominee from the Canterbury Regional Council approved list of nominees when requested, and this is for 6 months. So this function or responsibility sits with this committee, and so in order for this panel to be assembled and selected from, you will for 6 months sub-delegate that responsibility to the Chief Executive, so that we can operationally apply from the panel. So that's the very function that remains with this Regional Hearings Committee. So that would be a change, a sub-delegation to the Chief Executive for a period of 6 months. After that period, the responsibility for that function would return to the Regional Hearings Committee, and then it would be down to your consideration whether you wanted to extend that sub-delegation or not.
And just for clarity, that's because to define it down to a much narrower couple of names, we won't have that ability to do because of the short time frames.
That's correct.
So this delegation is, as per normal, against our delegations manual, as I understand it. Councillor Chair Pauling, you have a question?
Yeah, kia ora, Claire, and kia ora team. Hey, thanks. I really support the list and the idea of getting through that in an efficient manner, utilising the CE to do that. I just raised a point when we did discuss it last time around if it can come to a committee meeting, then it should. Is there a way to incorporate that, or if the committee's not fussed? I just thought that was an important point, that if we do have a committee meeting coming up and it can come to the committee, why wouldn't we do that? Anyway,
Craig,
that
yeah, Craig, I did discuss that with staff afterwards. The fact of the matter is that they are getting a very, very short turnaround expectation from the panel convener of 2 to 3 days, and then of course we have to actually have our paper written for our agenda and out, and it's generally out by the Friday beforehand. So that it's a timing thing, but they have assured us that we will know as soon as that person is selected. So that's the reason. I'm not sure, Henry or Paul, do you want to just add anything there?
No, the only thing I'll just reiterate there is it's the timing aspect. With our papers having to be written the week before, we don't have that luxury of time with this process.
Okay, so
all
Councillor.
good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Swiggs.
Thanks for the list. Do any of these panel or these members have air quality experience? I'm looking through it and I've seen no mention.
No, they don't. So we've tried to develop a list. Air quality is a really hard one to get, and based on our experience today, some of those harder ones to get, like hydrology, that's the one that the convener appoints herself. So where there is that need, she definitely finds those really particular technical skills, but air quality is a hard one. So as far as I could find, there didn't seem to be making good decisions approved air quality people that were, that available or that obvious to me in some of the stuff that we do when we're trying to form this list.
Okay, Councillor, I've got Councillor Edge first, and then you, Councillor Edge.
Thanks, Chair. Just a wee bit concerned about the delegation to the Chief Executive. We have an Appendix A to our terms of reference, which describe the idea of an advisory panel, and that's what we had agreed to support the Chief Executive if requested when exercising their delegated authority. And I would be keen for us to stick with that. The idea of a maximum of 3 members of this committee who are available at a time when we need something to liaise with and help inform the CE gives a bit more integrity and transparency to this process. And I think that we should do that. And
Yes, so can I just, I'll come to Chair Pauling's got a question too. Remind you, Councillor, that actual advisory panel to the Chief Executive was for certain litigation decisions. So it's not that broad-ranging in this perspective.
Well, I think that what I'm saying is that I think it should be. In this fast-tracking process, in the interests of public within Canterbury, and I see no reason why we couldn't apply this to the fast-track process as well, in terms of ensuring that at least there's 3 people called upon, meets with staff and the CE, and very quickly says, yes, no, that sounds reasonable, and that way there's a little bit of democracy in that process as well, and assurance to the public that it's being done right.
So I think we just need to remember our terms of reference at this committee. So we are actually approving this list that has actually been developed. Either you agree or you disagree, and that's entirely up to you to vote today. So we're approving this list, but because we cannot, we don't have the time frame to make the decision around the actual individuals that staff may put up, or whoever makes the final recommendation, and it's obviously got to be delegated through the CE for start, and she has the option to sub-delegate. That's what's actually in her paper and in our manual. So, and once again, it's the time thing. So does anybody have any answer or comment for Councillor Ridge?
Yes. I think really at the heart of this is the time between the panel convener and alerting us to the requirements of the panel skills, and then being able to turn that round in terms of a paper and advice to this committee for you to make a decision. And that's really at the heart of the issue. As we stand today, I think there's 3 applications in the building that will have really condensed timeframes. So really, as the chair has sort of confirmed, you are making the decision to appoint this list. So that's the Regional Hearing Committee's decision. You're making the decision that for a 6-month period, you'll delegate that decision to select from that list to the Chief Executive. And really that's very clear and very transparent what's happening as part of this meeting today. It's totally. I understand your point around the advisory panel, but as the chair rightly stated, that was predominantly for matters of litigation, and so that's. I've not got the terms of reference in front of me, but I think that was clear that it is for that purpose.
I'm proposing a motion.
Can we just have some more questions of clarity first, please, and then we can come to that. Councillor Robertson.
Sorry. Mine was just sort of following on from Councillor Swiggs or Deputy, Councillor Swiggs will do, and the air quality. I assume in this situation too, if it gets to the point that concern is raised about air quality or triggers for that, then an expert can be called externally. They don't have to be within this list. So that was just the question for that, which is a common thing in courts anyway. But with regards to what Councillor Edge was saying too, I understand his caution around this. However, I think there's scope for looking at this through the general delegations, and that's what I was going to say. It doesn't have to be in this particular. So the general delegations that we're looking at later can actually allude to that. Can it not? That's just my.
That's a meeting for council.
Yeah,
so,
but
can be brought up.
Yeah, so it's actually more for council, but I think she's sorry. Just a comment then.
Okay, thank you. Chair Pauling.
Yeah, kia ora, Claire. I agree with you. I think that we're doing our decision today, Grant. So we're approving this list. So we are having that control. I think that in terms of the process, as this reason I asked my question earlier on, but I felt the answer was a good one from staff in terms of the time frame. So I'm comfortable. In terms of what Dion has raised, I do think that is a pretty important matter. Air quality is one of our statutory roles, so I think it is important that we do, and I'm not saying we do it today, but I'd like the staff to go away and come back with a few names in terms of air quality hearing commissioners that could be added to this list. I think we can't leave that out. So
Okay, thank you.
that would be,
Staff,
if we could note that.
staff are nodding their heads to say that that's a possibility. Is that how I'm reading that body language?
So to 2 points to clarify. So as has already been articulated, the panel convener can request that technical skill as part of an application. The second thing that we can do is we can update this list between. So if we identify an air quality specialist, then that list we can come back and update the list, and that because you've effectively delegated this list. If we wanted to change it, we'd have to come back and seek that approval from the committee. So that's something that we can do.
So am I getting a general degree of comfort from members that that's a way forward? Okay, thank you. We'll take that as an action for future meeting. Councillor Edge.
Question sort of related to that. Going through the list, I mean, I'm happy with the list, and I wondered if there's a parallel list that includes the air quality expertise, and also given the range of the fast track projects that are planned for Canterbury, quite a few of them involve landscape amenity kind of issues, and there's no one on this list that seems to have expertise in that. And I'm wondering if in compiling the air quality stuff you also include some experts that we may have used for landscape and amenity matters. I'm particularly thinking of those things like subdivisions, gravel extraction, coastal stuff. So it's just important. So there's a list there ready to for the convener to call upon if they're looking for somebody. And the other expertise would be transportation planners who are able to deal with that. But or any other planners that you think might be useful. So
maybe if staff can, do you want to comment to that, Nadia?
Yeah, so for the transport, there's two people up there, Judith Mackinson and Andy Carr. Andy Carr does not, his making good decisions has expired, so we tried to keep the list to people with making good decisions. There's sometimes the harder ones to find people for. But one thing also to think about is that we discussed last week the ability to kind of contract in expertise in the advice that we give to the EPA. So where we consider that there is air quality issues or those aspects, we can contract that in, and that forms part of our comments that goes back to the EPA. And also on landscape, in our experience when we've raised issues, so for some of the solar farms, we raised the issue of cumulative effects because there's proposed a lot of solar farms, and the EPA actually requested that applicant to go back when they lodge their substantive to do an assessment on those cumulative effects. So some of the expertise that we pull on in that comment section is coming through and guiding what applicants need to consider as part of their application. And also the panel, once it is formed, has the ability to contract their own expertise, and they also have the ability to hire, it's probably the wrong word, but they have kind of like a secretariat that gives them support to the panel. So they might not necessarily be an air expert themselves, but they might request that an air expert provides advice directly to them as well. And I think as long as we raise those issues really clearly in our comments, then it's very hard for them to be ignored. Okay, so is everybody comfortable with that? Because I think that those, now that we've got those answers from you from a technical perspective, I'm just wondering, do we actually need a paper to come back with names for an air? But I mean, I'm just wondering whether that you could do a paper that outlines that information you've just given us, Nadia,
And if you have got somebody that's got a making course decisions that is a specialist in some area, well, perhaps that could be incorporated. So I'll leave it up to you guys to bring something back.
Yeah, if what you're wanting is some more clarity around what the panel can do and what technical advice we can call on, then certainly we have that information. It's just not written down right now.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And we're also happy to bring more people as well. It's just at this point in time, this was the list, and we're more than happy to add to it, because the other thing to note with the timeframes is that we have about 2 to 3 days to nominate someone, and in that time we actually have to contact that person and make sure they're available. So and sometimes they're not, because it is quite a big commitment to be on one of these panels, and so that's why it's
some cautions. No,
it's really hard, because people, they might already have other commitments, and because these panels are not set up 4 months from the date, they're kind of set up to start in 2 weeks' time. It can be quite hard to get someone, a good person with the right availability.
Okay, so you can you can move it. So you can hear that staff are working pretty hard to do this. So we've got a mover, Councillor Robinson wants to move it, and we've got Councillor Swiggs is going to second it. And Councillor Swiggs would like a quick point of discussion.
I do want a quick comment. Just thank you for what you've said around the air quality. I mean, we've got 3 real core pillars: land use, water, and air. And too often in this council, air quality has been forgotten. So I want us to make sure that we don't forget that. Those are the 3 things. This is a 2-legged horse at the moment. We've got a 3-legged horse. So really happy to hear what you've said. It's fine, but I think that should be a focus for us in the future, and just keeping it rounded.
I'll go to Councillor Edge first, and then just short if we can.
Chair, look, I do endorse the list. I am concerned about the full delegation of the CE in that process, and I won't suggest an amendment, but I just want to express, because basically unless we take these separately, I'd have to say no, but I just want to express my concern that there is no reason, no report required, just simply 3 people from this committee talking and liaising very quickly with the CE for some assurance, and that's not being done in this particular case. So I will support all 3, but just expressing my concern about that process for transparency and assurance.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson?
I have similar concerns to that of Councillor Edge. However, I'm just pleased that you've sort of teased out some of the concerns I had, and especially with regards to external experts, that, I mean, not necessarily on the making good decisions. It's not always about that. I mean, someone could have a professional qualification that supersedes all of them. So I think that, like in the general courts, calling upon an expert might be the be all and making the best decision possible. So I really endorse the list as well, and you've done a good job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got a mover and a second here.
Chair, I was wondering if my comment about that could be noted in the minutes.
It'll be recorded. I actually think it's a little bit unfair. We employ the chief executive. If we don't trust the chief executive to do the job, and we don't support our delegations, I feel that's a little bit sad. But anyway, we've got it. We've got a mover and a seconder here. All in favour say aye. Against? So that's carried. Thank you. That takes us on to agenda item 9. This is the resolution status report. This should be straightforward. It's green. Does anybody have any questions on the resolution status report? We've got a mover. It's Councillor East. Councillor Swiggs is going to second that. Any discussion? If there isn't any discussion, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Against? So that's carried. Thank you very much. And then that takes us on to 9 point... Hold on a minute. get it on 9.2, which is the, oh, goodness me. I do not like the updated version of Docs on Tap. It's not working, no. Hearing appointment and nomination status report for the 30th of July. Recommendations up here. Quite a bit of orange there on those pages. Does anybody have any questions of staff with regard to them? Alison thought she was making a quick escape. If there isn't any questions of clarification, can I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation? This is an updated one. Did that have the wrong date on it, did it? Sorry, it did. I didn't even move it. Councillor Swiggs is going to move it. Can I have a second? Councillor Robinson, thank you. Yes, my eagle eyes. It was late last night and I was frustrated like you with Docs on Tap. So I don't think we need any further discussion. All those in favour say aye. Against. So that is carried. Next meeting will be advised. Thank you. And we'll leave the Karakia open until the close of today's business. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, staff, for attending and helping this morning.